From the sands of Arabia to the rivers of Persia, the call of faith had risen like the sun over lands long shrouded in darkness. But now, a new light was destined to fall upon a city unlike any other, a city of prophets, revelations and sacred history, Al-Quds, Jerusalem. This was the land of Moses, Jesus, and David, a place where angels once descended, and from where the Prophet Muhammad had ascended to the heavens. By the time of Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab, this blessed city lay under Byzantine control. Its people were divided, its hearts weary, and its sanctuaries scarred by centuries of conflict. The call for its liberation came not from greed or a desire for empire but from faith and memory. Umar knew that Jerusalem was not just another conquest. It was a sacred trust, an asterisk, a mana asterisk. After crushing defeats at Yarmouk and other fronts, the Byzantines retreated behind Jerusalem's mighty walls, determined to make their last stand. The Muslim forces under the command of Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah and Khalid ibn al-Walid encircled the city, laying siege with patience and honor. The defenders, realizing resistance was futile, sent a remarkable message to the Caliph in Medina. "We will surrender, but only to your leader himself." When Umar received this message, he didn't send a grand army or a parade of banners. Instead, he set out from Medina with a single servant and one camel. There was no royal escort, no pomp, no throne, only a heart full of faith and sandals worn thin by prayer. The desert stretched before him, vast and unending. As they traveled, the two men took turns riding the camel. When the city of Jerusalem finally appeared on the horizon, it was the servant's turn to ride. Umar walked, holding the camel's rope, his feet covered in dust. The Muslim generals rushed forward to greet him, embarrassed that the ruler of half the known world was arriving in such a humble state. But Umar simply smiled and delivered a timeless lesson. We are a people whom Allah has honored through Islam. If we seek honor through anything else, Allah will humiliate us. The people of Jerusalem looked down from their walls in astonishment. They had seen kings on golden thrones and emperors in jeweled crowns, but never a ruler dressed in patched clothes, walking beside his servant, carrying no weapon but his humility. The patriarch Sophronius, the Christian leader of the city, came forward to meet him. He was struck with awe, not fear. This was no conqueror. This was a servant of God. The keys of Jerusalem were handed to Umar, and the city opened its gates without a single drop of blood being spilled. Inside the walls, Umar was led to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, one of the holiest sites in Christendom. When the time for prayer arrived, the patriarch generously offered him a place to pray inside the church. Umar politely refused. "If I pray here," he explained, "Muslims after me may claim this as a mosque. I do not wish to harm your faith." Instead, he prayed outside. On that very spot, later generations built the Mosque of Umar, a timeless symbol of coexistence, not conquest. From there, Umar asked to be taken to the site known as Al-Haram al-Sharif, the sacred enclosure. It had been neglected, turned into a dump for refuse by the Byzantines. When Umar saw the state of the place where the Prophet had ascended to the heavens, his eyes filled with tears. He removed his cloak, knelt down, and began clearing the filth with his own hands. The Muslim soldiers, seeing their leader working alone, rushed forward and joined him. Together, they cleaned the sacred ground until it shone once again under the sun. It was on this site that the Caliph ordered the construction of a simple mosque, Masjid Al-Aqsa. The third holiest mosque in Islam, the entry of Umar into Jerusalem remains one of history's most peaceful and dignified moments. No civilians were harmed, no places of worship were destroyed, no revenge was taken. The city that had known centuries of bloodshed finally breathed peace. Umar wrote the famous Covenant of Umar, guaranteeing the safety of all Christians, their churches, and their property. He declared, "They shall not be coerced in their faith, nor shall any harm be done to them." The people of Jerusalem wept not from fear, but from relief. For the first time in generations, a conqueror had come not to destroy, but to heal. As Umar walked through the streets, children followed him, whispering, "Is this truly the ruler of the Muslims?" With his head bowed and his eyes soft, he stopped to speak with the poor, to share food, to listen. He reminded his commanders, "You were not sent to rule, but to serve. Remember the day you will stand before Allah." That was the secret of his power, a heart that trembled more before God than before any army. In time, Jerusalem flourished under Muslim rule. Scholars came, traders settled, and believers from every corner of the world visited the sacred city. The call to prayer echoed alongside the ringing of church bells, a harmony of faiths rarely seen elsewhere. Umar's justice set a standard that echoed through the centuries. Even Christian chroniclers of the time recorded with wonder that never before had the city known such peace and fairness. Historians would later say that while empires conquered lands, Umar conquered hearts. His humility turned enemies into allies, his justice transformed nations, and his devotion built bridges between faiths. He never sought fame. He sought only the pleasure of God. His journey to Jerusalem was not a march of conquest, but a pilgrimage of peace. Upon that sacred soil where prophets once walked and angels descended, Umar ibn al-Khattab stood not as a king, but as a servant of the Most High. His bare feet touched the ground that Moses had longed to enter, that Jesus had blessed, and that Muhammad had ascended from. It was a moment that bound the chains of prophetic history together. As Umar departed Jerusalem, he turned back and looked upon the city one last time. "O Allah," he whispered, "protect this place and its people, for it is the land of your prophets." He then walked away, leaving behind a legacy of peace that would echo through the ages, a reminder that true victory lies not in conquest, but in justice, mercy, and humility. Jerusalem had been opened not by armies, but by righteousness. And the world witnessed once again that the message of Islam was not a call to dominate, but a call to elevate humanity. Thank you for watching. If you were inspired by this story, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next episode.